In this video, I'll be pinning the newly updated Polyphemus deck against the brand new Circe deck to test how they play. I'll explain how the game plays really quickly for anyone interested, but anyone who's not can skip to this timestamp. To win my game, you must use cards to push yourself forward on this map to Ithaca, while also playing cards to stop your opponent. Each card has a suffering cost, however, and if you get too much suffering, you'll lose the game. With a simple how to play out of the way, let's dive right into the gameplay, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, we've got Polyphemus on our left here with the Dota sleeves. We have Circe on the right with the Greninja sleeves. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these up, and we're just going to get right into it. With both of these now shuffled up, we're going to go ahead and flip a coin to decide who goes first. Circe will be heads, Polyphemus will be tails. And that is tails, meaning Polyphemus will be going first. So let's go ahead and draw their hands up. And now let's begin with Polyphemus here. Okay. That's not an awful starting hand. We have a lot of search options, a lot of crew, so we can build that up pretty quickly. Sacrifice of the gods is always good. Ooh, especially with my favorite sheep. We can't play a Wrath card this turn, so we're going to hold on to that just in case I need to get one for the next turn, because I don't want to waste it just yet. But I do think I will play 600 men as our first crew, which lets us draw one card for each active crew member, including itself. So we will draw one, getting us another Polyphemus, always a good search card. And we're just going to go ahead and pass to Circe. So let's see what Circe's got. That's not bad at all, actually. So right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and play Polyphemus to our crew space, which will let us then search our deck for another crew member, who will go for Elpenor. We're then also going to go ahead and play Exploration for 2. That lets us move one space forward and draw one card, getting us another copy of Circe's Wine, so that's going to be good if we get Underworld's Meeting later. We are going to play Circe's Allure as our Wrath card, just to go back to the bottom, and now Polyphemus will not be able to play any crew cards on their turn. But they are still in City of Troy, so they will draw 2 to begin their turn, getting us Ro and Melanthius. Now, Ro is going to be good later when we can play our Eurylochus here. Melanthius is a new card I added to this deck, which will push them back one space for each sheep card in our discard pile. So we're also going to hold on to that for a while. That does, however, also make me want now to use Sacrifice to the Gods for 2. That says discard a sheep card, so I will be discarding my favorite sheep. And I get to draw, 3 cards? Draw 3 cards, yeah. Another 600 men. Eye of Polyphemus is always good. I don't think we're going to go for a Wrath right now. I think we're going to hold on to that for a little while. Can't play crew this turn. Oop. And then Eye of Polyphemus is a good draw card, but I think we're pretty decent hand size wise right now. Go ahead and play Poseidon's Trident for 1, which will kill one of their crew members. We'll kill Polyphemus. And I'll take 1. We're just going to pass for now, because I can't play any crew. So, Circe's at Island of the Lotus Eaters, so we're going to push them back to 1 suffering, because of that, and they draw 1 card to begin their turn, getting Elpenor. And we're going to go ahead and just play that, so now we have 2 Elpenor out, so no matter what, we'll gain no suffering for sacrifices and whatnot. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and play Circe's Wine. It's cheap. Gets rid of their 600 men, and then we will just halt there and pass it back to Polyphemus, who will draw 2, getting Sail and Sheep Escape. Then also going to play our 600 men, draw 1 card, getting the No Man Disguise. Okay, this is nice. Okay, so this is a new kind of card, the disguise cards, and I made a short talking about it, but for anyone who didn't see it, this card gets played next to your crew. It doesn't take up a crew space, but it gets played next to it. And basically, you can only have 1 out at a time, but it's like a continuous effect. So the No Man Disguise says, when your opponent plays a Wrath card, move back 1 less space or kill 1 less crew member. So it's like, you know, confusing the Cyclops so they can't do as much, basically. So we are going to go ahead and play that. Just a little bit of protection. We will also play Sail for 1 to move us forward 1 space. We'll go with Sheep Escape too, since we're kind of protected with No Man. To move forward that additional space. And then we are going to play Sharpened Club. And we are going to discard Eye of Polyphemus with that, which lets us draw 1 card. Getting food and drink, that's always nice. And it moves us 1, 2, 3, 4 back on the suffering track. So that puts us back to Circe, who needs to decide what they're doing. Honestly, going back isn't that bad, and technically Sharpened Club would push us back 2 spaces, but we'd only go 1 because we only can, so we might as well just give ourselves that reset there. And then Circe will draw 2 cards to begin their turn. Okay, we're immediately going to play the Exploration we drew to just push us back up and draw a card. We're going to go ahead and play out our pig card for fun. Just so cards like Eumaeus have a chance to start building up. So to startle pigs. We'll play Circe's Wine, might as well. Kill the only crew member they have active. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and pass the turn. So it goes back to Polyphemus, which for Cyclops Cave, the space that we're on over there, we get to play crew member. So Eurylochus won't activate his ability though. And then we also draw 1 card. I will also play Eurylochus for the turn because I played 1 with that, and that lets me search my deck for a Wrath card. So we'll go ahead and take Polyphemus Toss. We will play Food and Drink for free, just to move back down that 2. And then we will also play Row for 3 to move us up 2 spaces for our 2 active crew. So boom, boom, putting us pretty far up compared to Circe. And then we are going to go ahead and, yeah, we'll do Polyphemus Toss. It's good suffering give back. And really just keep Circe in that same box of too far back. And I'm going to take that as Circe. Just because I think drawing 2 cards in this with this hand state, which isn't great, is going to be a good setup. Especially if we can get more pig cards, like Circe's Transformation, stuff like that. We did get Molyflower, which is always nice, which I will play. So what that does is we're going to draw 1 card, and if it's a Circe card, which it's not, we would discard it and then draw another card, but we've got 600 men. I guess I will play Circe's Feast for 2 back to kill my opponent's active crew members, which might be too overpowered an effect for a card. I might have to revisit that. And just see if I want to change that. But that passes it back to Polyphemus, who only gets to draw 1 card per turn, getting another Polyphemus card. Okay. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to play Polyphemus to search our deck for a sheep card, which will be Sheep Escape. And so the first one's also going to be for Sacrificial Sheep, which you'll see why in a second here. Because we're going to play Sacrificial Sheep for 2, which says, on our next movement, I will move forward an additional space. So then we will also play Sheep Escape to move forward 2 spaces into the layer of Scylla, getting us into the second half of that map, while Circe is kind of just stuck in a dead draw state, and I'll pass the turn back to Circe. That was a good turn. All right, so Circe's going to draw 2. Aha, okay, this is something we wanted. We're going to play Circe's Transformation. Circe's Transformation is going to have us search our deck for a pig card for each of our active crew members. And then these pig cards are going to replace our 3 active crew members. So 1, 2, 3, like that. And then we shuffle the original 3 crew back into the deck, effectively having transformed our crew members into pigs. So, with that, we're going to play Startled Pigs to end our turn, which will push our opponent back 3 spaces because we have 3 active pig cards. So that's 1, 2, 3, and that ends our turn. So we pass it back to Polyphemus, who now on what was that, floating island, is draw 1 card and then gain -1 suffering. We need more movement is what we need. And I don't want another startled pig scenario. I'm going to immediately just end my turn with Polyphemus Feast as my wrath card to kill 2 of my opponent's crew members. So 2 pigs. Circe is going to gain, what, 4 suffering for that? So some from 5 to 9, which is a lot. And that just means that, like, startled pigs won't be more effective anymore, and we pass it back to Circe. So they're going to draw 2. We're going to go for 600 men to draw 2 cards. We're then also going to do Circe's Guidance for +3 to move us forward 1 space, and search our deck for a Underworld card, with which we will get Underworld Meeting. I'm realizing that I forgot I had No Man and forgot to activate its ability for Polyphemus, which kind of sucks. Too late to go back now, but I'm gonna have to remember that for the future. It's harder when you're playing against yourself. We are then going to play Eumaeus for another 3 to move forward a space for each pig card in our discard pile. So that's 1, 2, 3, with a max of 3, so that's fine. We'll move forward 3 spaces. I think we're gonna hold off for now, but what we are gonna do is play Underworld Meeting to get -3. And then Polyphemus will gain 1 suffering for each crew member in the discard pile, which is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then that ends my turn. So it passes back to Polyphemus, who will gain 1 -1 suffering and draw 1 card. Getting Row. Now, Row is kind of useless without members out. So I think we're going to immediately just end with Melanthius, who will push our opponent back 1 space for each cheap card in our discard pile. So that's 1, 2, 3, with a max of 3 spaces, I believe. Yes, so they will be pushed back 3 spaces, making their Eumaeus play basically useless. So 1, 2, 3. They will then gain -1 suffering. It is my turn. Draw 1 card. And we're going to play out Polites. And most of my pig crew are in my discard pile, so Circe's transformation is kind of useless right now. I will, however, play another Eumaeus to just put me right back at where I was, and then we'll just go ahead and end our turn there, because I don't have any good wrath cards to play right now. So yeah, Polyphemus' turn, which is -1, draw 1. Polyphemus Feast, kill 2 of your opponent's active crew members. We'll immediately go for that, just for -3, and then we'll kill these 2. Boom. And that'll pass the turn back. Not great draws for Polyphemus right now. It is kind of in a dead space, which is not good by any means. We will then go ahead and pass it back to Circe, who on the Layer of Scylla will draw 1 and then actually gain 1 suffering. Ooh, that's good. Another Underworld Meeting is always nice to see. We'll probably just immediately play Underworld Meeting for -3. And then Polyphemus will gain 4 suffering. And it passes back. Gains 1 back. Draws 1 card. Doing Polyphemus Toss. Polyphemus Toss is good. So we're going to treat this as a decently big turn. We're going to play Polyphemus for 3 to search our deck for 2 sheep cards. So we're going to do Sacrificial Sheep again and Sheep Escape. Basically just do the same thing we did with it last time. So for another 4 suffering, we're going to play Sacrificial Sheep and Sheep Escape to move forward 2 spaces, putting us 1 space behind Circe there. And then we will play Polyphemus Toss, which Circe's just going to sacrifice the pig, take the 2 suffering, and then I will move down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I am at a good position with Circe and don't want to lose that. I know the Underworld ability could be strong, but I think Layer of Scylla, even though we gain that 1 suffering, is still going to be better for us. And I was right. We're going to play Exploration for 2. Move forward 1 space, and then draw 1 card, getting us Retelling. And then we're going to play Startled Pigs, which won't actually do any damage to the opponent, but will give us that 3 suffering back and end our turn. Now, we are in the Underworld, which is a good position for us. So we are going to go ahead and shuffle 600 men, sail, and sacrifice to the gods back into our deck here, because that's what the Underworld does. It's take 3 cards from your discard pile and shuffle them back into your deck, and we will draw 1 card. Getting my favorite sheep, Search for a Polyphemus Wrath card. Not bad. I do think we're going to try to hit again with the Polyphemus and just go for the... I guess we're going to go for Sheep Escape and just another copy of my favorite sheep. And then play my favorite sheep to search for a Wrath card. To go ahead and get Sharpened Club, which we will then play for -4. It'll push them back 1 space, and that is unblockable because they have no crew. So I'll put them on the layer of Scylla. They will gain 1, then draw 1, getting Circe's Transformation. Probably the most useless card for this scenario. Circe's in a really bad spot right now. In fact, they're in a spot to just pass the turn because it is that bad. Which means Polyphemus is going to go for another Underworld. So things like Sheep Escape, another Sacrificial Sheep, and Eurylochus, just to build up that crew again, are going to be shuffled back into our deck. And I will draw 1 card. Food and Drink, kind of completely useless for us right now. Polyphemus is also going to pass. Circe gains that 1 suffering, draws 1 card. Circe is not looking good. This could be the first time I see a death by suffering, to be honest with you. Circe's going to have to pass back, which means Polyphemus can just keep shuffling these cards back into their deck, which is not going to be good for Circe there if the draws start picking up for Polyphemus. And then draw 1 card, getting Sheep Escape, which means the strategy is coming together. Another Sacrificial Sheep, Sheep Escape combo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Moving us forward 2 spaces, putting us on the island of the Sun God. And then that ends our turn, passing it back to Circe, who gains another suffering and draws another card, finally getting a Wrath card, which doesn't actually help all that much, but will be played immediately. Circe's Allure. Opponent can't play any crew cards on their next turn, but does give us 3 suffering back. So we pass it over. There's no active crew members for Polyphemus to sacrifice, so he will draw, getting Sacrifice to the Gods, which he will play, sacrifice for 2, cutting us really close, but discarding my favorite sheep to draw 3 cards, getting exactly what we need. Playing Melanthius for -3 and pushing Circe back 3 spaces, effectively making things worse for Circe. However, with where Circe is, she now gets to move up 1 space and then draw 1 card. Drawing another Circe, not actually a helpful thing. However, Circe is going to go for a risky move of playing Retelling to get a card from their discard pile. Going for Eumaeus, which might seem like a weird move, and then hoping that some Wrath cards start to come through and passing the turn back. So Island of the Sun God still, no active crew, so just draw 1 card. Getting 600 men. 600 men is great. So, gonna play that to draw 1 card. Getting Hermes. Hermes is pretty nice. We are gonna play Food and Drink to just move down that extra 1 on the suffering track because I'm scared. And then we will immediately play Sharpened Club to push them back 1 more space. Things are looking incredibly bad for Circe right now, who at Cyclops Cave cannot play a crew member from hand since they do not have one, and is forced to just draw a card. And so I think Circe's just going to have to pass again back to Polyphemus, who will sacrifice their active crew, which sucks, but then draw 1 card, getting that additional 600 men. So we are going to play Hermes for 3. And what that does is I can reveal a card from my hand, so in this case 600 men, and I can search my deck for a copy of that card. So we're going to see if there is another 600 men. Go ahead and shuffle the deck up and hope that maybe that gives us some better movement draws in the future. And then go ahead and play one of our 600 men to draw 1 card. We are going to play row to move forward just that 1 space. However, it does make it so we no longer have to sacrifice 600 men as we wait for a hopeful Wrath card, and we pass it back to Circe. It gains 1, draws 1, getting another Eumaeus, and is now in a position to actually effectively use Eumaeus to move forward 3 spaces, putting them at the underworld, which will be great for their next turn. Hopefully reinstate that Wrath card engine, and we then just pass to Polyphemus, who gets to discard 1 card, then draw 1 card. So we are going to discard Pray to Father. It's the most useless thing we have right now. Then draw. Eye of Polyphemus is good. We are going to play that other 600 men to then draw 2 cards. We are also going to play Eye of Polyphemus for 1. Kind of really close there, but need to hope for a Wrath card. Getting 600 men will be good next turn, but not this one. We're going to have to pass back. And if to Circe, who gets to use the Underworld ability. Now, if Circe gets Underworld Meeting, which I am going to shuffle back in, as well as Exploration, just for a little bit of movement gain. If she draws Underworld Meeting, Polyphemus is done for, and it will actually be the first time I have seen in my game a loss by reaching 20 suffering, which would be crazy. Circe's going to draw. Getting Startled Pigs. Not that great. Not too bad either, because we will play it. Won't give us any pushback on Polyphemus there, but will, 1, 2, 3, give us that 3 suffering in return, and then pass it to Polyphemus. Polyphemus will then discard the No Man Disguise and draw 1 card. Getting another copy of Lotus Flower, but we'll also play 600 men to now draw 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, and get nothing that is currently playable because I need more Wrath, and I'm starting to worry that it might all be in my discard, which isn't possible, but we're just not getting, we're not getting good draws. So we're going to pass it back to Circe with the Underworld, who is going to take Eumaeus, Exploration, and 600 men, just to hopefully restart a draw or move engine and push us back up on the map. And then Circe will draw 1 card, getting Elpenor. Elpenor is not bad. We will immediately play Elpenor. We will use Food and Drink just to move back that 1 space. And then we will also play Eumaeus for 3 to move forward those 3 spaces, putting us at the same place Polyphemus is at, and then we pass the turn to Polyphemus. This is becoming a tight battle here. We're going to discard that. We're going to draw. Getting another crew. This is bad. We're going to go ahead and pass back immediately. Circe now being able to discard these dead things like Circe's Transformation and draw. Getting Underworld Meeting, playing that immediately. And if I remember, there is at least 1 crew card in here. Yep. And so Polyphemus loses the game due to suffering gain. That is something I have never seen. Wow. Okay. That was a lot closer than I thought it was. I think it's been about 30 minutes roughly, maybe a little less than that, maybe a little more, somewhere in there. There was certainly some dead space at some point in the middle there, which I might have to mess around with either what's in the deck or what some cards do, just to like make sure that that isn't as common, because I don't want that to be bad. I did constantly forget about things like No Man's Disguise. I think I probably forgot about that a few times during the game. That could also just be a product of playing against myself and keeping track of everything. So I'm going to have to play against other people with disguise cards in it to see if it's easier to remember that way. That was fun. Hopefully that was enjoyable and readable to anyone watching. And I will see you again.